and welcome back to the show. Yes, we're here again. I've got my apron on. We're ready to go for 2022 on Thursdays with Annette. So thank you for joining me today. I've missed you. It's been a fabulous break, so I am ready and raring to go. So boom, let's start with a recipe out of the new cookbook. Of course, it's my new baby. It's very exciting. Thank you for the massive feedback. Everyone's loving this book so much, so thank you. But today we're going to do a recipe that's normally really high in fat, but also very high in salt. So if people with diabetes or cholesterol, that can be a bit of an issue for them, this recipe. So what are we making? Well, let's have a look. We're going to do the Satay Beef Stir Fry. That's right. Now it serves two, but I will explain to you how you can go along to make it for more of you if there's just more, 4 or 6, depending how many you cook for. So let's look at the ingredients we need to start the recipe off. So we need some onion and some green capsicum. Now you could use any colour capsicum, but I just wanted to do green with the satay just for something different. If you don't like capsicum, then you could replace it with either broccoli or a vegetable that you like, up to you. But for this recipe, it's onion, green capsicum. We're going to use 250 grams of really lean rump steak. There are variations. I'll tell you about that later if you don't want to use the steak. We're going to use half a teaspoon of the garlic. Now I always use the crushed garlic, as you know, but please, if you want to use fresh, that's your option. We've got some coriander, some cumin or cumin. We've got turmeric. We've got a little bit of chili powder. We've got red curry paste, and this is where that satay will really kick in and have that beautiful, authentic Malay flavour. I've also got water to add in, some low salt soy, because I'm looking after all that low salt with you as well. Corn flour to thicken, and I'm using with the satay because it's a peanutty base. I'm using this one here. I don't know whether you've seen it before, but it's the Bega Light 25% less fat, and I thought that was a great addition to this recipe. So that's what we're using today. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up the steak first and start cooking it, and then I'm going to chop up the veg because I'm going to multitask. Oh my God, it's so good to be back. It's so fun. All right, so now we cut the rump into strips. So remember, it's only for 2 people. So everything's in much smaller amounts. So it makes cooking very quick, which is always a bonus in our house because I love to eat, but I don't want to spend too long in the kitchen, like I'm sure most of us. So the variations for this is chicken, pork, and tofu for the vegetarians. So if you don't want to have the beef. And what I like about that is that you can make it quite often and just vary the protein in it, and you've got a really different flavour, especially when you go from, rump to chicken. And depends what's on in the freezer or what's on special. All right, so now that's done, I'm going to actually start cooking it in my near-flamme fry pan with the rice bran. That's what we use for the near-flamme. And what I'll do is I'm going to put this over in my soapy sink. I'm going to wash my hands because, actually, I'm going to pick it up, aren't I? No, I have to wash it again. That's all good. So wait for it to just get a bit hot before you add in the meat. So you want to seal it. And what we'll do is we're going to cook the meat first and take it out. Now this is one of the tricks I do with my stir fries, because this is a satay stir fry. And a lot of times satays, they're on skewers and they're a starter, but this is actually a main meal. So here we go. Oh, I've got my sizzle. Oh my gosh, it's so good to be back. Thanks for joining me today. Thursdays are going to be just a happy place now in my house. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to turn that over for the veggies, but I'll wash my hands. You don't want to cross-contaminate, so that's always very important. So while that's cooking, I'm going to chop up the veg. So we want 2/3 of a cup. So let me get my measure cup. I'm going to cut it in half and then cut it in slices. So we want 2/3. I use brown onions, and break the onion up. You don't want big clumps of it, so break it up. And then let's put it in and measure. 2/3 of a cup. That looks about right. Okay, so where's my little stirrer? Let's toss the meat. Now we just want to cook it. We don't want to overcook the rump. We want it to be nice and juicy and fabulous. And the good news is this is, as I said, much lower in sodium and fat than the traditional satay. So you can certainly enjoy it. The fat count actually is 12 grams of fat for the rump version, which is so much better than you would normally have. And then for the chicken, it's 8.3. The pork is 8.1, and that's using that nice lean pork loin. And the tofu is 13.6. All right, that's looking fantastic. So I can just still see a tiny little bit of pink in there, but I'm really happy with that. So let's put it in a clean dish. Fantastic. All right, so I'm going to turn that off for a sec because all I've got to do now is just chop up the capsicum. So I'm going to put that in the bowl. Oh, what the heck, throw it in. Waste not, want not. And we want 3/4 of a cup. Now I'm going to cut that in half because we don't want really long strips. And I'm cutting... Now, I think that with the satay, you would serve it with rice. I would anyway. And I always use the basmati rice. And an interesting bit of fact is that when you look at one of my recipes, if the rice or the pasta or the potato is not in that nutritional list, which this isn't listed for rice in this recipe, then it's an add-on. So you have to then add the calories or the fat or whatever it is that you're adding as an extra. It's not included. So it's only whatever is in the ingredient list that's in that nutritional breakdown. Just so you're 100% clear on that. So 3/4 of a cup. Fantastic. Let's put them over here. So it's really simple because it's only going to be those two ingredients that we have, the three, the beef, the veggies. Look at that. And now let's bring all over the lovely flavours that really, really make this dish zing. It's just delicious. All right, so let's turn on again. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the spray once more. And we're going to add the onion, the capsicum, as well as the garlic. All right, so it's 1/2 teaspoon of crushed garlic. Get my little trusty spoons out. I've been cooking up a storm over the holidays because I had so many visitors and it was so fun to be able to make all my new recipes for people. They were just loving it. And look, it's so easy actually when you make a recipe. Like for example, last week I made the braised steak and onion, which is an old favourite. Like a lot of the old, I brought some of the oldies, the goodies back in this new book. And I had 2 visitors, so it was 4 of us. So I just doubled the ingredients and we sat there and tucked in. It was fabulous. We had mashed potato and veggies. And it's funny because my friends were so impressed with the sauce that they asked for bread and butter because they remember as kids having that to slurp up the gravy with. So it was a lovely memory for them, that's for sure. All right. So let's move it over. So this is what you do when you're cooking if you can, is get everything out so it's like very simple and very easy to do it all. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add in the spices. So now I'll get another one because it's a dry spoon I want now. And so I want 1/2 teaspoon of dried coriander. Just flatten it out like I'm doing. In it goes. We're now going to move the spoon down to 1/4 teaspoon because we're doing small amounts here because it's just for the 2 of us. It's just for me and Billy for dinner tonight. So we've got the cumin. We've got the turmeric, which is 1/4 teaspoon as well. And I mean, I use these ingredients in so many foods. So I'm sure you'll have these in the pantry anyway. And we're going to pop it down now to 1/8 of a teaspoon. That's what I love about these spoons, is you can get that really low amount of chili in, because I'm a bit of a sook with chili. I don't like it really, 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 really hot. So let's just cook those spices off for a second. Oh, look at me, throwing me capsicum around. You don't have to put the chili in if you want it a bit milder, but 1/8 of a teaspoon, it just gives it a little bit of heat. Now we're going to, put in the curry, which is a teaspoon. Teaspoon of red curry paste. I love that we can buy all these beautiful pastes in the supermarket now. I just think the Asian section's really got some beautiful things in it for us to use in our cooking. Oh geez, sorry. Let's put in, oh, have you ever done that with the chili? Oh, Annette. I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons. I haven't changed, I'm still just me in the kitchen. 2 teaspoons of the low soy sauce. Let's put the corn flour in the water. So it's pretty easy, isn't it? There's nothing much to it. In it goes. And this is where you'll add the peanut butter. I measured it out so it was quick and easy, but you want 2 tablespoons. And you want this to be a fairly thick sauce. You don't want it really runny, because satays tend to cling to the protein. And I have got my rice ready to go. So as I said, I always do the basmati rice because it's the low GI. Mix that peanut butter in really well. And I think that's where you get that really awesome flavour. So in goes our beautiful rump. And our satay is nearly ready. I know, boom, another easy recipe, a new recipe from More Cooking for 1 or 2 people. And the good news is you just have to divide half for you and half for somebody else. It freezes really well because it doesn't have dairy in it, so it will freeze for several months. So that's another good thing as well if there's just one of you. Oh wow, look at this. This is so beautiful. I'm going to turn that off. So there's our first recipe for 2022 done and dusted. Now let's serve it up. So as you can see, you've got the little bits of the capsicum and the onion coming through. Oh, just fantastic. And I like it because it also helps you portion control when you make it my way, because if you're making it for 4, we found, Bill and I, that often we'd land up with only 1 serve left and we'd go, oops, we've just been a bit heavy-handed. So here we go. There it is. The Satay Beef Stir Fry from More Cooking 1 2. Now, if you want to win the cookbook, can you remember what to do? It's been a while. I'll just remind you. So this is the book that's up for winning, and it gets personally signed if you're a winner. So what you've got to do is you've got to like, share, and then in the comments you do hashtag simply with a Y. Remember, it's got to be with a Y. Number 2, simply too good, and I'll pick 3 fabulous people to be winners for next week. So there you go. And the winners will be notified, so you'll find out if you're a winner. So let's think about next week's show. I'm so excited. I'm picking really easy recipes for February. I want to warm you into cooking again if you maybe haven't been doing a lot of it. So I'm going to make a salad. And I thought we're still into that summer feel. Let's not go into autumn too quickly. And it's a fabulous recipe from book 4. And it's my warm chicken salad with mango dressing. And this mango dressing is just absolutely delicious. Now, if you want any more tips or recipes, you know where to go, simplytoogood.com.au. And don't forget, the next challenge is starting soon, this month. I mean, you know, it's going to be fantastic. I'm super excited for the autumn challenge. I mean, look at this, people. Hello, Who knew weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? Thanks for joining me for our first show for 2022. I'll see you next week.